Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate with me, Heena Gambhir. The fight for legacy, the fight for legitimacy between Uddhav Shiv Sena and Shinde Sena reached the top court today. After the first round of hearing, the rebel camp has got some relief, which simply means that Shinde Sena will not be disqualified till at least 11th of July. Eknath Shinde camp had approached the top court of the country seeking a stay on disqualification proceedings. After hearing the arguments from Uddhav's side, the state and the Shinde camp, the top court has given Shinde's camp time till 12th of July to respond to a notice issued by Deputy Speaker on 25th of June, initiating disqualification proceedings against them for defection. Notices have also been issued to Maharashtra Deputy Speaker, Sena Chief Whip Sunil Prabhu and Legislature Party Leader Ajay Chaudhary on the petitions by Eknath Shinde and 15 other rebel MLAs challenging the disqualification notice to the rebel camp. The Supreme Court has also asked the Maharashtra government to ensure protection of 39 rebel MLAs and their family members. So this was the big development of the day in the national capital, because this fight, which has been going on for over a week now, reached the apex court today. Sources have now told your channel that Uddhav camp as well as the Shinde camp is mulling floor test much before 12th of July deadline. Meanwhile, BJP held a core committee meeting at Devendra Fadnavis's residence. So what is BJP's plan? What next for Maha Vikas Aghadi government? Let's try and find out. Before I welcome my guests, I want to go across to my colleagues who've been tracking the story very, very closely for you since last 1 week, have been getting you the fastest updates on this big political story developing every single day in the state of Maharashtra, in Assam, and it started, remember, from Surat in Gujarat. Ketan, Shweta, as well as Shivani live with us on the broadcast this evening. Good evening to all of you. Ketan, let me begin the discussion with you. You know, a lot has happened after the hearing in the Supreme Court today. The first round, of course, has been won by Eknath Shinde camp. But what happens next from here on? Because you were telling us earlier that another MLA, Rahul Patil, may join Eknath Shinde camp in Guwahati. Explain to our viewers the numbers game.
Well, so the number game, at least on the face of it, seems to be in the favor of Eknath Shinde camp, because the rebel camp has presented in the Supreme Court a list of 39 rebel MLAs which they claim are on their side. And today, if Rahul Patil reaches Guwahati, then the number will soar up to 40. Right now, I am at a Shakha where they are expecting Aditya Thackeray to come and address the Shiv Senics here. And this is precisely what the party is trying to do in the last 3-4 days, show their strength and show their mettle on ground, and establish the fact that despite these desertions, the party is intact and strong. The party seems a little impacted by the result, but by the Supreme Court verdict, but it is still unfazed, because they say that this also gives them breathing time to convince these MLAs to come back to the flock. And mind you, Heena, the next ball is in the court of the Deputy Speaker. And on the 17th of July is when the monsoon session of the Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha begins. So clearly the Speaker can tell the rebel group to wait until then. So that will give an edge to MVA despite the turmoil that is going on. Heena?
Right. Interesting details there. Let me now go across to my colleague Shivani as well. Shivani, good evening. Tell us the kind of reactions we got from Shiv Sena today, because what happened in the courtroom, what happened in Apex Court today is being seen as a jolt to Uddhav Shiv Sena. And questions are now being raised whether Maha Vikas Aghadi government is going to stay as it is or it's going to crumble.
Well, there is a lot that transpired today in the courtroom in Supreme Court, and respectively we saw that how more days of time been granted to all of those rebel MLAs and ministers. Those are now in Eknath Shinde cadre to file their reply before the Deputy Speaker in Maharashtra. In fact, they have also raised several questions that Deputy Speaker is not actually performing on the legal grounds, and that's why we saw that where on one hand Eknath Shinde cadre was expecting 7 days of time to to be given to them to file their reply. They have been given 14 days of time from Supreme Court, whereas before those particular reply filing, Deputy Speaker will have to file their reply before the Supreme Court. But right now, when we are present at this particular Govandi banquet, let me take you through the visuals and you will see that how, in fact, there are hundreds of women and men and supporters of Shiv Sena, those have gathered over here. And clearly, when there was a big setback for the Uddhav Thackeray-led government, Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena party, the Shinde cadre over there in Guwahati seems to be enjoying this particular moment, because right after court's verdict as well, we saw that how source-based information are also coming from BJP, where they are also saying that they were being connected, they were being coordinated and contacted by Uddhav Thackeray, for the alignment, so that Eknath Shinde does not get any support from people from any national party to build up a government in the state of Maharashtra. And that's why we see that this particular event of Govandi was declared to be one of the biggest event at the moment of time, but clearly there is not a single big face that has joined this particular event. In fact, only the crowd and the supporters seems to be joining this event, and only Meenatai Kamble and also Mr. Prakash Patarfekar, who is the MLA over here, has joined this particular event. And definitely it seems that in fact the people those who have come here were also expecting Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, or at least Sanjay Raut to join them and address them. But the way, of course, only the supporters have come, and there is some still supporters those are supporting that there will be Uddhav Thackeray who will be leading the chair of CM of Maharashtra. But definitely the way leaders after Supreme Court's hearing today seems to be absent in the field in the event showcases the definite lack of confidence within the Shiv Sena party.
Okay, Shivani, requesting you to stay on with us. Let me go across to my colleague Shweta as well, live with us at this point in time. Shweta, BJP's core committee meeting happened at Devendra Fadnavis's residence today. Now, the question is, what next for the political crisis in the state of Maharashtra? For how long will the MLAs led by Eknath Shinde are going to stay in Guwahati? What are you picking up from Eknath Shinde camp?
Absolutely, Hina, the way the turmoil has been deepening in the state of Maharashtra when it comes to political crisis, we have also known that it is this week which is very crucial for the MLAs. Now remember, when we speak about Eknath Shinde camp, we are seeing that the number has soared up to at least 39 from Shiv Sena and 8 those who are independent, summing up to 48. That's a huge number now. That's a clear majority, in fact. And as far as BJP is concerned, remember, they haven't really said anything about their course of action as of now, but yes, very minutely, step by step, they have been monitoring the entire crisis and the Sena split since June 21, and they have been going through series of meetings that what can be their strategic approach, and will the alliance be back, which was for last 25 years, and how can the floor test be a major win for them. Along with it, this is also one major update to give you that one more MLA is more expected to join the camp, which indeed brings the Sena MLA count to 40s.
All right, Shweta, Ketan, Shivani, appreciate all of you for joining us with all of those details. We'll keep coming back to you for more on this developing story, the political crisis in Maharashtra that has been going on for over a week now. So what are the options that are available? Is the Maha Vikas Aghadi government going to stay, or the political crisis is going to lead to dismantling of this coalition of three political parties? And will now Shiv Sena be merging with BJP? I mean, these questions clearly remain. Let's try and get some answers from our guests joining us on the broadcast. We have Satya Pal Jain, senior advocate, live with us. Desh Nigam, who is a lawyer, also with us. Ashutosh, senior journalist, joining us on Urban Debate. Dr. Dalwai, spokesperson of the NCP, is with us. Raj Punj, leader, Shiv Sena, on the broadcast with us as well. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. Mr. Satya Pal Jain, the matter reached the Supreme Court today. It seems that, Shinde's camp has won round first because it was only the first hearing today. In your opinion, has Supreme Court's intervention brought some clarity about which way this entire war is headed?
You see, before the Supreme Court today, when the case came up for hearing, I was present in the court during the whole hearing of the case. The core issue which has come to the Supreme Court for decision is, two issues are involved which are to be decided by the Supreme Court now. Number one, when there is a no confidence motion against the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker, can he proceed further with the disqualification petitions moved by one person against some of the MLAs? Number two. Second issue was whether when you have to decide, even if you have the power to decide, there is no confidence motion, no motion against you, what reasonable time has to be given to those MLAs to clarify or reply to the allegations made against them? The Supreme Court today, relying after the order passed in Arunachal Pradesh case, where the Supreme Court said that whenever there is a no confidence motion pending or moved against the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker, he cannot and he should not, he could not decide the no confidence motion, the disqualification petitions pending before him. I think that was the core issue which was there in the Supreme Court today. The political fallout of the matter is that there were apprehensions and rumors that today at 5:30 the Deputy Speaker would disqualify all those MLAs. That will change the whole show. The Supreme Court, with a view to ensure justice to both the parties, and after hearing lawyers from both the sides at length, has passed an interim order which is in consonance with the Constitution bench judgment in Arunachal case. So I think the Supreme Court has brought certain more clarity on the issue by the intervention, by the interim order.
So you believe that Supreme Court's intervention today has brought at least some clarity on the way this political crisis was intensifying every single day. Interesting point of view there. Raj Punj, आप हमें ये बताइए कि किस तरह से शिव सेना देख रही है आज के सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इंटरवेंशन को और अब आगे की क्या प्लानिंग है आपकी तरफ से?
सबसे पहले तो यही है कि जो इश्यूज हैं, जो इशू अभी चल रहे थे इतने दिन से, जो आप देख रहे हैं 5-6 दिन से अंदर, तो डेफिनेटली इसमें कुछ ना कुछ ऑब्वियस है कि अब जैसे अब वहां लोग बैठ गए, उनको रिक्वेस्ट करेगी, सब कुछ किया गया। अब राइट नाउ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट हमारे देश का सर्वोच्च न्यायालय है, सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज अ पावर, तो वो जो भी कहेंगे डेफिनेटली सबको मान्य होगा, सबको एक्सेप्टेबल है उस चीज को, तो उसके लिए कोई डिनाई नहीं कर सकता, कोई इसमें डिनाई की बात ही नहीं है। और दूसरी बात ये है कि वी आर रिक्वेस्टिंग सो मेनी टाइम्स टू आवर पीपल कि प्लीज कम बैक, बट दे आर नॉट, मीन्स उनको समझ नहीं आया या क्या हुआ, आई डोंट नो द बेसिक क्या उसमें इशू रह गए। लेकिन चलिए कोई बात नहीं, उनको नहीं समझ आया तो अच्छी बात है या बुरी बात है बाद में पता चलेगा, बट अब जो पोजीशन है वो फ्लोर की पोजीशन है, आपको फ्लोर पे तो आना ही पड़ेगा, और डेफिनेटली उसमें अब फ्लोर पे जब आएंगे तब पता चलेगा कि कौन किसके साइड है या नहीं, बिकॉज राइट नाउ कुछ भी कहना इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट।
आप कह रहे हैं फ्लोर पर तो आना ही पड़ेगा, तभी पता चलेगा कि क्या है हो रहा है इस पूरे मामले में, तो इसका मतलब हम ये समझे कि अब आप फ्लोर टेस्ट की तैयारी कर रहे हैं?
बिल्कुल, देखिए फ्लोर टेस्ट की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, और डेफिनेटली जब वो वापस आएंगे उनके मे बी उनके अंदर से कुछ चेंजेस आने चाहिए, जहां तक होता है, क्यों, बिकॉज इतने साल साथ रहे हैं, कुछ हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, एनीथिंग कैन पॉसिबल, कुछ भी हो सकता है।
Okay. Ashutosh, it seems that Shiv Sena, Uddhav Shiv Sena at least, is still hopeful that the MLAs, the ministers who are there with Eknath Shinde in Guwahati right now will have a change of heart and will be back in Uddhav's camp. How will you like to respond to the developments that have taken place today, and what happens next in your opinion?
See, there are two things which is very important here, and the most important thing is whether the Shinde group has got the 2/3 majority in its favor or not. If they got 2/3 majority in its favor, then they can also press for the floor test, and they can also declare themselves as the real Shiv Sena. But if it is more than a week, and neither Shinde group nor the BJP had gone to the governor and said that Uddhav Thackeray government has lost the confidence of the House. So better Uddhav Thackeray government should prove its majority on the floor of the House, and this is the most important thing. And that's why there is some kind of uncertainty, in my opinion, that if they had 2/3, then there was no way that they would not have gone to the governor. Since they are not going to the governor, that itself is a proof that there is some uncertainty. Today in the Supreme Court, when the Shiv Sena lawyer has requested that the floor test should also be postponed, then the Supreme Court did not provide that protection to the Shiv Sena. That means the governor can summon the House anytime. And since today there is a question mark about the majority numbers with the Uddhav Thackeray, so the governor can use his discretion, can call the House, can request Uddhav Thackeray to prove its majority on the floor of the House, as it is said by the Bombay judgment. So if it is not happening, or if it is happening, that's the crux. About disqualification, I think the Supreme Court has been very discreet. Supreme Court has clearly saw the constitutional intricacies, that disqualification of MLAs are entertaining the petition is a part of the legislative function. So Supreme Court has been cautious and said you better postpone it till 12. Has not said that you can't entertain this petition. Has not said that you can't do this. If the court has said that was getting into the legislative function, and that would have been in contravention with the basic feature of the Constitution, where the judiciary, parliament, and executive have been given had certain powers from the Constitution, and it is expected that all three will not breach into each other's power.
Very important point you have raised. Now, let me quickly go across to my colleague Arunil as well and get a response on the point that you have made here, that the governor can actually call for a floor test. So is a floor test being planned? What is happening on that front, and what is the plan of the BJP? Because there was a core committee meeting with the BJP that happened at Devendra Fadnavis's residence. Arunil, good evening. Could you help us understand what happened after that core committee meeting of the BJP? What is their plan of action? And second, how soon can we expect a floor test? Is the governor likely to call the floor test?
Well, good evening to you, Heena. One thing is confirmed, that after the Supreme Court order, the action in the BJP camp has clearly aggravated. They have swung back into action. There was a core committee meeting that was held. In fact, close sources from the BJP also inform me that the BJP is confident of 128 number of their own. That is barring the Eknath Shinde camp. Yes, the magic figure in the Maharashtra Assembly is 144 to 145. We also have to consider that 2 MLAs are in jail. One, unfortunately, has passed away. That is Ramesh Latke from the Shiv Sena. Now, with respect to the governor also is concerned, we understand that the governor can certainly move for a floor test. But for that also, Eknath Shinde's camp will have to be present over here. Now, the kind of threats that have been issued, or kind of language that has been used from both the camps, the CM Uddhav Thackeray camp as well as from the Eknath Shinde camp, a kind of a physical altercation is also being seen at different rural parts of Maharashtra primarily. So that's why a CRPF has been deployed over here. The BJP has rallied its voters as well, rallied its party workers, saying that whenever we tell you, immediately you will have to be on the ground. With respect to the numbers are concerned, if BJP is saying that 128 are with them, that includes the independents and the smaller parties who have given their support to Devendra Fadnavis. And if you actually calculate the 39 of Eknath Shinde camp as well, then it becomes very easy for Devendra Fadnavis and for Eknath Shinde as well. So on the with respect to the government formation, why the move was not being made by the BJP till now was because the deputy speaker had some power. He had moved for disqualification of 16 MLAs from the rebel camp. However, that has been more or less nullified by
and on that front, clearly the top court today has provided temporary relief to Eknath Shinde camp. So an important development there. Thank you, Arunil, for the moment for joining us with all of those details. Dr. Sameer Dalwai, you heard my colleague Arunil, who was bringing to us the update from the BJP camp, and BJP clearly is keeping a close eye on the political developments, is now confident of 128, is also probably looking at what's happening in Eknath Shinde's camp. Do you think it's paving way for collapse of Maha Vikas Aghadi government, or are you going to ask for a floor test?
All my esteemed co-panelists speak. The first thing is I'd just like to put some things in perspective to the best of my knowledge. I think today the court had heard two major matters, whether the disqualification of the 16 MLAs of the Shiv Sena, as well as the disqualification of the deputy speaker. To the best of my knowledge and my sources, what the Supreme Court has said, that the disqualification of the 16 MLAs cannot be completed in such a short time. They need to hear all the parties, and hence the Honorable Supreme Court has given time till 11 July for all the concerned stakeholders to file their replies, at which time the Honorable Supreme Court will deliberate on whether this disqualification is valid or not valid. Let me repeat, the Supreme Court could have struck down the disqualification. It did not strike down the disqualification. So at the moment, there is a status quo. I don't think the ball has moved from one side of the court to the other at all. On the matter of the disqualification of the deputy speaker, there are two aspects here. First and foremost, the disqualification of the speaker or the deputy speaker requires a motion and has to have the support of 29 MLAs of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly before it can be entertained. Writing a letter, a member of parliament from Maharashtra writes a letter, say, casting aspersions on Honorable Speaker of Lok Sabha, does not mean that they will amount to having a disqualification for the speaker. And hence, this has just been a letter which has been written. And again, the Supreme Court has not upheld that. So at the moment, there is a complete status quo, and now we move back to the real politics of the ground in Maharashtra. As you can see right now, there are reportedly so many numbers in Guwahati. They are not on the soil of Maharashtra. What happens when they come to Maharashtra remains to be seen, not from the external forces, but from these 39, 36, whatever numbers are being shown there, when they come back here, because we have no clue in Maharashtra, sitting here, what is the status or the duress or under what pretext have they been taken there. It certainly is more to it than meets the eye than the pictures that you're showing on the screen now. Because if things were so peaceful, as you can see the honorable gentleman sitting here on the screen, they would have been in Maharashtra today. It is their home. They are elected representatives of the people. Why would they be away for a week and keep extending their stay in faraway Guwahati and trying to call the shots, or we trying to predict what's happening in Maharashtra? And hence, though making mathematical summations on screen may sound very interesting, the truth is completely different. And that will be proven in the days to come, not because of any duress. Eventually, those who owe alliance to Honorable Balasaheb Thackeray or to Shiv Sena or their own party, they will obviously be exposed to that and they will express that.
So there is no threat to Maha Vikas Aghadi government, is what you are saying, Dr. Sameer Dalwai. As on today, there is no threat to Maha Vikas Aghadi government there, is what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Mr. Satya Pal Jain wants to respond, but before that, let me also go across to Mr. Desh Nigam. What do you make of the developments? Do you think it is still status quo, as Dr. Dalwai mentioned, or do you think the Supreme Court's order has given us some sort of a timeline, and hence we are moving towards direction wherein we will see, this entire drama getting over soon? Probably some sort of resolution can be expected maybe before 12th of July. Are we heading towards that direction?
Hina, in fact, I agree with Mr. Satya Pal Jain's analysis of what happened in the court. And there are two issues in the matter. One, the battle which has come to the court. One, the battle which will be fought on the floor of the House. Now, what is to be fought on the floor of the House will depend as to the notice that has to be brought to the notice of the governor, that this government, MVA government, is in minority now, and therefore assembly should be summoned and a floor test be ordered. If that decision is taken by the governor using his discretion, because he is not bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers under such a situation as already settled by the Supreme Court, then the floor test will take place. And during the floor test, a pro tem speaker can be appointed, because deputy speaker's conduct will also be under question. And then a no confidence motion, as rightly pointed out by at least 29 MLAs, would be there, and then he can be removed from his post. Then a new speaker will come, and then the issue of chief whip will also come, because then somebody will appoint himself. The Eknath Shinde group will appoint a chief whip, and that has to be recognized in the assembly itself. So things are not as smooth as it might appear, but the first round has already gone to Eknath Shinde's camp, because otherwise with all reasonable probability they would have been disqualified by after 5:30 today, the timeline that was given to them. So they have some time. In the meantime, there are various options available. As I said, one could be floor test, somebody going and informing the governor that this MVA government is in minority. However, the other aspects is merger. If you have to get out immediately, the easiest way is to go for a merger with any party and then support any other party. So that is the easiest way out. But I believe all the options are being weighed by all the parties right now with what should be the way towards moving forward. So today, as it stands, the issue will finally be decided on the floor of the House. But interestingly, the court has given time till 12th July for those 16 MLAs to respond to the Deputy Speaker's notice. But before the Supreme Court is the 11th of July.
Yes.
So you understand that one day before in the Supreme
Court. So floor
Court,
test or a merger, these are the two options that you think are available right now, Dr. Samir Dalwai wanted to respond, then Mr. Satya Pal Jain. Yes.
I'm a law graduate, but I'm a practicing doctor, so I won't get into a legal battle with the luminaries here, with all due respects to them. What I understand is, before this matter is clarified, the disqualification matter is clarified by the Supreme Court, I don't really think it's going to be easy for any party to accept and allow these people to vote in a floor test. That's another matter that needs to be considered. Also, what Advocate Nigam said is very true, that they could have easily merged with the BJP, because Section 10 allows them the exemption that if they immediately merge their section into another party, then they can immediately become members of that party, and all this imbroglio can be avoided. The fact of the matter is, not all of these MLAs want to align or join the BJP, because they own their alliance, their political existence, to another completely different identity on the ground. And hence, that is where the tussle is. My information is 18 to 19 of these MLAs have very clearly refused to go and join the BJP. And that is why this option, which Advocate Nigam spoke about, is not being enforced. So that there is, we are fighting or showing this as a legal battle in the Supreme Court, which is true. But the real politics is on the ground, and the story is yet to unfold.
Okay, the story is yet to unfold. You clearly know what our viewers do not know. I'll try and get more details. Mr. Satya Pal Jain, then Ashutosh, yes.
I'll quickly respond by making three submissions. Number one, Dr. Dalwai, I just want to bring to your notice that the no confidence motion against the Deputy Speaker has been moved by 34 MLAs of the Shiv Sena by submitting a written no confidence motion. And during the hearing of the case today, the lawyer for the Deputy Speaker before the Supreme Court admitted that yes, this letter was received and they are yet to verify the authenticity of the letter, etc. So it's not that some one person or two person has written a letter. It is a proper resolution of no confidence under Article 179 of the Constitution of India. Number two, it's a situation under the anti-defection law, which has arisen for the first time. It's not that some people are leaving their party to join the other party. It is a case where the members, overwhelming majority, two-third majority of the same political party, legislature party, want to change their leader. They are not leaving the Shiv Sena at all. Where is the question of merger or joining other party? They say, we are in Shiv Sena, we are the two-third MLAs, we elected Mr. Eknath Shinde by majority of 54 MLAs. Now 35 are again with him. So these 14 MLAs cannot pass a resolution appointing somebody else as the leader of the party. So they are claiming to be the real Shiv Sena, and I am putting two questions. Number one, is it not a fact that in a democratic consideration, democratic working, maybe within the party, maybe within Vidhan Sabha, the most important factor, magic number, is the majority. In the present case, the present CM doesn't enjoy majority either within his own party, legislature party, nor within the Vidhan Sabha. So you go by any yardstick, you go by any principle, you can't save your government. Fourth, last point, till this moment, all these 39 MLAs who are with Mr. Shinde, they have not done, as a lawyer with sense of responsibility, I can say, done anything which may fall under the mischief of the anti-defection law. They have played their cards very well. They are saying, we are within Shiv Sena, we are the Shiv Sena, we are the overwhelming majority. In all the cases under the anti-defection law, right from Kyoto Holo on till now, there has never been a case where the two-third majority of a legislature party is being throttled by one-third. Ultimately, majority will prevail within the party also and within Vidhan Sabha also.
That's important because it's all about numbers
maybe today,
eventually.
maybe tomorrow, it is a writing on the wall. He has to go. Mr. Uddhav will have to go.
Can I respond?
Okay.
Heena?
Okay.
Heena,
Ashutosh first and then Dr. Dalwai. Yes.
See, I think what Satpalji is saying is not partly true, and with all due respect to him, because he's a very senior person, he's a senior lawyer. I'm not a practicing lawyer. But the fact is, whether they got the two-third MLAs, where will it be proved?
Exactly.
Not in the...
But you argue very well. You argue very well like a lawyer.
Sir. Where it will be proved? Not in the Chapati, not in the Guwahati. It will be proved on the floor of the House. So nobody can assume that they got two-third majority. Till it is proved that they got two-third majority, only then the question will come whether the whip will be appointed by the majority or the minority. And second point, it is not only the two-third majority. These two-third majority can be protected from the anti-defection law if they not only if they are together and also merge with other political parties. Even if the two-third votes against the government but do not merge, still they can lose their membership. The point is, I think the time has come when the reform should take place. And why I'm saying so, I'll take another 30 seconds. Reform should take place in 2020. Twice, Supreme Court has requested and said that the Parliament should make a law that Speaker should not be the final authority. It should be decided by outside authority. And they suggested that either a Supreme Court judge or a chief of the High Court should be made an arbiter in this case, because Speaker is always a member of a political party. So there is always an inherent bias in his decision. I think the Parliament should take up this matter, should pass a law, and Modi government should take the initiative.
Heena, can I just quickly comment?
Okay. Of course, that's, I'm sure, going to take a lot of time. Dr. Dalwai wants to come in, then Mr. Raj Punj. Yes, Dr. Dalwai.
With all due respect to Jain Saab, whose knowledge is phenomenal in law, I'm just saying that if this 34 MLAs have moved this motion, where should it be done? On the floor or in Maharashtra or in the Supreme Court? I'm not sure. Perhaps you can guide me on this. Because moving it in the Supreme Court is not akin to this motion being moved in Maharashtra.
The Deputy Speaker, in the office of the Deputy Speaker, it has been submitted.
Yes, it has not been submitted by these 34.
In the office of the Deputy Speaker in Maharashtra Assembly, this has been submitted.
Let me just complete the other part.
It has to be verified. It has to be verified.
Mr. Jain, 1 second. Let him complete his point, then I'll come back to you.
The leadership of a party...
Dr. Dalwai. Dr. Dalwai first, complete his point, then I'll go to other guests. Yes, Dr. Dalwai.
The leadership of a party, who runs the party, is not merely determined by the MLAs in the assembly. That is a legislative party. I'm sure all of you are aware of that. There can be a leader of the legislative party on the floor. Similarly, there is a leader of the parliamentary party in parliament. They are not the arbitrators of the party. Just because they may have changed alliance from a particular person does not mean the election commission is going to take away all the other insignia of the party. So let us not equate these current X number of MLAs with ownership of the party. And just because they have shifted does not mean de facto Uddhav Thackeray, the Honorable Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray, is no longer the leader of the Shiv Sena. The government may fall.
So essentially what you and what Mr. Ashutosh have said, that just because Mr. Eknath Shinde is claiming to have support of about 39 odd MLAs and is claiming to be the original Shiv Sena, it does not mean Uddhav Thackeray is no longer their leader, and Eknath Shinde can't just take the party away. If indeed he has numbers with him, then he'll have to prove his majority on the floor of the House. So that's, I think, what you're trying to say. Raj Punj ji, मुझे आप ये बताइए कि क्या फ्लोर टेस्ट की तैयारी की जा रही है, क्योंकि सवाल अब यही आता है कि मेजॉरिटी अगर एकनाथ शिंदे कह रहे हैं उनके पास है तो उनको प्रूव करना चाहिए। तो फ्लोर टेस्ट की क्या बात चल रही है आपकी पार्टी में, कब तक हम उसकी उम्मीद कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि 17 तारीख से तो मॉनसून सेशन भी शुरू हो रहा है असेंबली का, हो भी पाएगा कि नहीं?
जो मेजॉरिटी है सर,
राजपुंज जी आप अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को जी।
मैं साउंड नहीं, मेरी आवाज आ रही होगी आपके पास? 1 सेकंड
जी गो अहेड।
माय वॉइस इज तो आशुतोष जी ने जो बोला 2/3 के बारे में, तो डेफिनेटली एग्जांपल है कि जैसे 100 अगर होता है, यू जस्ट काउंट द 100 नंबर्स ओवर देयर एंड उसके बाद जो 2/3 मेजॉरिटी होती है वो लगभग उसका 66.66 होता है द फाइनल। तो 66.66 में 37%, तो 37 है वो इनको चाहिए। तो ऑब्वियस है कि उससे एक इनके पास ज्यादा है जिस तरह से वो डिक्लेयर कर रहे हैं। तो इट डिपेंड्स, बिल्कुल सही इन्होंने बोला कि वो बिल्कुल डेफिनेटली होता है कि जब आप फ्लोर पे आते हैं तभी पता चलेगा कि आपके पास क्या है क्या नहीं है। हो सकता है उसमें से 5-10 इधर चले जाए, उधर चले जाए, कुछ हो जाए, समथिंग एवरीथिंग कैन हैपन, कुछ भी हो सकता है। बट अब फ्लोर की जरूरत तैयारी करने की जरूरत नहीं है। जब वो वापस आए, हम उन्हें शुरू से कह रहे हैं आप वापस आइए, आप अपने बैक टू योर होम, जब अपने घर की तरफ वापस आएंगे, चौपाटी पे आइए या थाने में आइए या कहीं भी आइए, तो डेफिनेटली कुछ ना कुछ चेंजेस जरूर आएंगे। और शिवसेना कहीं नहीं जा रही, 56 सालों से शिवसेना है और पक्ष प्रमुख को पूरा अधिकार है, जो हमारे माननीय उद्धव ठाकरे साहब हैं, और उनको पूरा अधिकार है कुछ भी चेंजेस लाने का, चाहे बाहर का रास्ता दिखाने का या अंदर लाने का। तो डेफिनेटली उसके अलावा किसी को नहीं, बिकॉज जो भी है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है ऑफ शिवसेना, वो कुछ सालों पहले चुनाव आयोग में, इलेक्शन कमीशन में सबमिट कर दिया गया। उस सबमिशन में यही लिखा गया है कि इसमें जो चेंजेस हैं वो पक्ष प्रमुख ही कर सकते हैं। उद्धव साहब ठाकरे जो है वही कर सकते हैं, उनके अलावा कोई नहीं कर सकता। कोई भी किसी को बाहर का रास्ता दिखा सकता है या अंदर का रास्ता दिखा सकता है डेफिनेटली, और कोई नहीं कर सकता, किसी के पास अथॉरिटी नहीं है। दे हैव 282 मेंबर अप्रोक्सीमेटली, जिनके पास 282 मेंबर हैं, और वो मेंबर ही इसमें पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, वही इसमें इलेक्ट करते हैं, और इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है। और ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अगर ये कहेंगे कि मेरी पार्टी है, मैं शिवसेना अडॉप्ट कर लूंगा, तो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर हिम टू कैश और होल्ड द शिवसेना, बिकॉज नथिंग, कुछ भी नहीं ऐसा हो सकता, नथिंग कैन हैपन।
Okay. Mr. Desh Nigam, what is really happening to the politics? And I want you to explain to us a little bit how easy it is for a group to destabilize the entire government. We've seen this happening in Madhya Pradesh as well, even though the developments that are taking place here are slightly different. But in a way, here also, you have some MLAs who have gone to a BJP-ruled state, and now, everything is in front of us. What is happening really?
Heena, it is immaterial where they go. It is immaterial because then they have a reason that security and life was under threat, and that is what Supreme Court also commented today and said the state government must provide all kind of security and help to the property and person of these MLAs. So where they are, it is immaterial. What matters is today is that the parties who actually fought elections together in the name of Mr. Modi and Fadnavis broke that alliance, and that equilibrium is being restored again now. So the immorality or the unethical aspect of it started in the first instance when the original mandate was for the Shiv Sena and BJP to rule, and that status quo ante is being restored now. Now, secondly, Supreme Court did not say much about the no confidence motion because they didn't want to get into all that because it's a prima facie opinion. It's not a final opinion. It was only a prima facie opinion for which they have passed an interim order today. So ultimately, everything has to be done on the floor of the House. The deputy speaker can be removed, a new motion can come up also there, and a pro tem speaker can be there, and then the vote will take place on the floor of the House. The MVA can be removed there. So ultimately, that aspect has been left open. And anybody who goes to the governor and establishes that the present government in Maharashtra is in minority, then, as I said, governor will use his discretion and call and summon the assembly. And there the floor test will take place. So there are two aspects of it. One, the floor test. Other, they have agreed with the deputy speaker that he has the power to proceed with respect to disqualification. However, everything will depend on the floor test. Everything will go. In fact, all the proceedings, launched by the deputy speaker, once the no confidence motion takes place in the floor of the House against deputy speaker, everything will go there. So these till 11th July, the time period is very crucial for all the political parties to actually formulate a strategy and put it in motion on the ground. Till they do it, the only clarity that you have today is the Supreme Court order, nothing less, nothing more.
Heena, can I please respond to Advocate Nigam?
Okay. Mr. Satya Pal Jain.
Heena, can I just respond to Advocate
Dr.
Nigam?
Dalwai, go ahead.
I appreciate Advocate Nigam's very clear political stance as well as his legal stance. And I would like to very humbly remind him, since he has gone into the political debate of it and talked about unholy alliances, you may be aware that there are at least 4 states in which the mandate for which people vote was broken away by the very party which is now, and perhaps which you are supporting, is very clearly now talking of unholy alliances. They have done that in 4 different states. Before this, I'm sure you are much more aware about it than I am. The second part, since you asked him a question about what does it augur for politics, I call it the carrot and stick approach. I call it the carrot and stick approach. We all know what the carrot is, which was quite popular in Indian politics for a long time.
Can I respond to Mr. Dalwai?
The stick now is what is called the ED. As a tongue-in-cheek question, at least let me ask, is the picture any clearer? I would like to know if there are any summons to these 39 people in Guwahati from the ED in the next few days. I would like to know, is any of these 39 people undergoing an ED summons in the next few days? If not, how is it that only
Heena, can I come in for a minute?
And how certain don't?
Okay.
That
Mr. Desh Nigam, please respond.
Heena. Yes. See, let me tell you, I think Mr. Dalwai forgets the pre-poll alliance has more sanctity in law as established by the Supreme Court. When you go to the people with a pre-poll alliance, people vote according to that. So pre-poll alliance has more sanctity than the post-poll alliances or subsequent alliances. Yes, we have seen separate kind of different of alliances in various states subsequent, but somebody who breaks the pre-poll alliance, because pre-poll alliance has the most sanctity, and that is where Supreme Court has said it again and again. First the absolute majority, then pre-poll alliance, then post-poll alliance, then finding out other possibilities of forming a government. So pre-poll alliance stands second to absolute majority. This is legally also established. Don't intervene. I don't intervene. Please don't intervene. I don't like this kind of a debate where somebody intervenes in between. So again, I'm saying it is legally established that the pre-poll or breaking of a pre-poll alliance should be taken more seriously because people have voted to it. Subsequent alliances, are the necessity of governance to forming a government. But pre-poll alliance stands on a different footing altogether.
Okay, interesting. Ashutosh wants to respond, then last comments to Mr. Satya Pal Jain.
I think the holy or unholy alliances depends upon the political expediency. If the power is very near, you will form any alliance, you will testify. I'll go back in 1998 when Bharatiya Janata Party, it left all 3 major issues like Babri Masjid and all that. Was that a holy alliance or the unholy alliance? You withdrew yourself. The party withdrew itself from the fundamental issues which defined BJP. You kept that aside and form the government. Was it holy alliances or unholy alliances? So I think the holy and unholy alliances depends upon the political expediency. And every party, be it the Congress or the Bharatiya Janata Party or any party,
Yes,
all are political, all are neutral in terms of political morality.
Absolutely, like somebody once said,
अभी करता
इस
हूं,
हमाम में सबने बराबर के कपड़े पहने हैं. Mr. Satya Pal Jain, I want to give you the last word. I think Mr. Raj Punj also wants to respond. Mr. Jain.
May I just clarify two things?
Only 20.
See,
Yes, Raj Punji, 1 second.
So
Mr.
far
Satya
as
Pal Jain first, then I'll come
the
to
issue
you.
is concerned, now we are watching the presidential election. Who? Me? See, I want to just say two things. Nowadays, we are undergoing the election of the President of India. Everybody knows in 1969, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, from which party, NCP, Congress, all have come, defeated her party's own candidate during presidential election and supported Mr. V.V. Giri, who was the candidate independent person, defeating Sanjeeva Reddy, revolting against him. So let all those people who have come 1 year earlier or later from the Congress not raise the issue of any moral issues. It is a simple case so far as Maharashtra is concerned.
Okay.
Chief Minister has lost majority. Vidhan Sabha also, his party also. Democratic principle says he has to go. If you are in minority, you have to go home. If you are in a majority, you have to go to Raj Bhavan. You are not in
But
majority.
like
Therefore, you may
Ashutosh,
use
Dr.
any
Dalwai
angle you may want to
said,
do.
you know, he's
Maybe tomorrow,
claiming
maybe
to
day
have
after tomorrow.
more
You have to
numbers,
go.
but reality will be clear, will be there for everyone to see once there is a floor test. I mean, they won't really buy the claims that are being made. Okay, Raj Punj, last closing comments, please. I'm completely out of time. Raj Punj.
My question is this, कि मतलब इतना एक्सपेंडिचर है, इतने सारे लोग आपने सबने हमने देखा, इतने दिन से देख रहे हैं, because chartered trains आ रहे हैं. It's not a very small amount. It's not a very small amount for a MLA to expend this type of expenditure. और उसके बाद आप देख रहे हैं कि चार्टर्ड ट्रेन जा रहे हैं, वहाँ पे होटल है. मुझे तो लग रहा है भारतीय जनता पार्टी को होटल ही परचेज कर लेना चाहिए, because there are so many states जहाँ पे अभी इनकी सरकार नहीं है, वहाँ से भी लोग इधर से उधर आएंगे. तो डेफिनेटली ऐसे जो स्टेट्स है जहाँ पे इनके अपने सीएम है, तो वहां पे बैठ के इस तरह से परचेज कर लें, ताकि बिकॉज लोगों को वहां ले जाके रखें और इस तरह से चलता रहे. बिकॉज ये क्वेश्चनेबल रिमार्क है कि मतलब इस तरह से अगर ये करते रहेंगे तो ये एक अच्छी बात है. वो कहते हैं कि मैं एक्सपेंडिचर कर रहा हूँ. हाउ कैन इट्स पॉसिबल? एमएलए के इतना फंड है कि वो अपना पैसा इसमें लगाया जा रहा है चार्टर पे लेके लोगों को लेने के. ओनली फॉर 1 पर्सन 1 प्लेन इज गोइंग. एक जने के लिए, एक शख्स के लिए, एक पर्सन के लिए एक हवाई जहाज जा रहा है. मतलब कैसे इसको कोई सोच सकता है? That's it. Enough, thanks.
Okay, so you see this as some sort of a conspiracy. I'll have to wind up the debate now. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now this evening. We'll, of course, wait and see what happens tomorrow in this case. We've seen developments coming thick and fast today, and this political crisis is just intensifying in the state of Maharashtra, even though today Eknath Shinde's camp has got temporary breather. But remember, viewers, that's only a temporary breather, and floor test probably now is going to be the next big thing that's going to bring some clarity on the uncertainty that continues to exist in the politics of Maharashtra. Heading into a very, very short break right now. There's lots lined up for you on the other side as well. Don't go anywhere.